All right, so we're going to begin in a standing position this morning. Have one block ready. We'll use that early on in our flow. And so just come to mountain at the center of your mat, facing the long edge. And give yourself a few moments to connect to your inner space. And so drawing awareness inward, focusing on sensation in your body, the sensation of the feet pressing into the earth, and then the sensation of the whole body pulling up in alignment out of that base of support. And so then setting your feet where they need to be so that you feel both stable and comfortable. Bring the hands to the heart in Anjali Mudra and connect the base of the thumbs to the sternum. And allow your breath to deepen. And so on the out breath, pressing down, connecting with your center, connecting with the center of gravity. And then as you inhale, lift up out of that base, allowing your whole body to lengthen in alignment, creating more space through the whole body. So breathing deeply, chest breath, abdominal muscles engaged because we are now beginning an active practice. Standing and breathing, drawing all of your awareness to your core. So that could be the core of your body, the central core, pulling everything in good alignment. Or it could be the core of your essential nature, who you are, what you are here for. And so just breathing and noticing, and then inhale, float the arms up over the head, lengthening from the soles of the feet all the way up to the fingertips, and connect everything in between. And so really connecting hands with shoulder blades, and then allowing the elbows to extend as completely as they can. And even as you do this, really attending to the shoulder blades on the back body, attending to the length of the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head, and then draw the hands back down to the heart. Nice deep breath. And so once again, inhale, breathing the arms up, lengthening the whole body, but paying particular attention from the shoulder blades to the palms of the hands. And the palms of the hands are facing inward towards each other, and the fingers are stretching apart a little bit, okay, so that they're very active, very involved, very engaged. So breathing, noticing, and then go ahead and bring the hands back down to the heart. Nice deep breath. So once again, inhale, floating arms up. This time, I want you to bring awareness down towards the center of your body. So paying attention to connect lower rib cage to the pubic bone on the front, so that that band of muscles, the abdominal muscles are engaged, even engaging the side abdominal muscles. And so the core is strong, the spine is neutral. Breathing and noticing, and then go ahead and bring the hands back down to the heart. Nice deep breath. And then once again, inhale. Stretching up again. So paying attention to shoulders, pay attention to core, pay attention to buttocks. So slight squeeze in the buttocks so that the pelvis is a perfect bowl, tilted, neither tilted back, neither tilted forward, but a perfect bowl, holding all of the contents of your pelvis and your abdominal muscles. And then pressing down all the way to the feet, pressing shins in, thighs spiraling out, the whole body. And then take the arms down once more to the heart. Nice deep breath. And then this time all the way from the soles of the feet to the tips of the fingers with awareness, taking arms up over the shoulder, breathing. Now we're going to do some rotational movements with the arms as they connect into the shoulder. Okay, so take that as one anatomical function. Okay, all the way from the hands to the shoulder blades, we're going to rotate the arms out. So the hands are moving outward, but it translates through the whole arm and even into the shoulder blade. So notice that, rotating in that direction as far as your body will allow, trying not to compromise what's going on with the rest of the body, and then rotate the arms in all the way so the palms are looking back, breathing, noticing, paying attention to all the subtle details of what your body is doing. And then a couple more times, just rotating out, rotating in, warming up, especially the upper body and the shoulders. Make sure that your head is on straight, that your neck is not tensing up. And then go ahead and bring the palms together and back to the heart. Take a nice deep breath. All righty. So now let's inhale, take arms up overhead, hold on to the left wrist with the right hand, plug the top of the arm bone in, and lift up and over. Nice lateral stretch. And so allow yourself a little bit of wiggle room, okay, so that it's not rigid and you can float in and out of this one pose, this one side of this one pose, coming in and out of it as you create more space in your body. So breathing, noticing what is open, notice what is gently contracting. Breathe. And then back to center, palms facing forward. Hold on to the right wrist with the left hand lifting up and over. Same thing, other side. So playing with it, playing with your breath, playing with your alignment, creating as much space, as much openness as you are able. Just breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and come back to center. And then bring the arms down. Notice sensation in your body. All right, so inhale, stretch up. And then go ahead and interlace your hands and set your hands at the base of your skull. Okay, elbows are open. Again, we're going to press into the feet, lifting up into the pelvis, and then lifting up out of the pelvis. Really hugging everything in towards the core, because now we're going to lift up out of the rib cage and we're going to reach back into our first backward bend of the morning. So keep your eyes open. Take it slow so you don't just pop right back to your deepest backward bend first thing in the morning. Again, just playing with it, you know, going back to neutral, lifting up, reaching back. So just exploring your alignment, explore sensation, notice what is opening, notice what is closing. Notice your feet and notice if they're gripping the floor, okay? Allow the toes to be spread apart from one another, but with the pads touching the floor, not gripping the floor. Breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and come back to the center. And then extend the arms. This time we're going to keep them clasped, okay? Just take the palms to your head, okay, to the top of the head. Elbows are pressing open. And then we're going to exhale, roll up with that palm. So the palms are now looking at the ceiling, and you're again lengthening from the shoulder blades to the hands, breathing and noticing. Breathing and noticing. And then inhale, take the hands down to the head, and then exhale up again. One more time, palms to the head, and then exhale up. And then go ahead in this position, take the arms out in front of you. So the palms are facing forward, hands are still clasped. And then you're gonna just rotate again, bringing the palms into the heart. Nice deep breath. Now take the hands to the hips and begin to hinge. So now also go ahead and grab your block and set it down in front of you, okay? The tallest orientation of the block. So hands on your hips and soften your knees if you need to create more space in the low back and the sacrum as you hinge forward, okay? Taking it as far as you can with a neutral spine, okay? So the spine is not rounding. And then just touch your hands down to your block. Okay, both hands on the same block is fine. And breathe. And so now, so this is a variation of table pose, if you will. Okay, so just thinking on that orientation, okay, that you're in table pose, but in fact our legs are extended. We're using, our arms are extended, we're using the block to help us. So now we're gonna inhale and we're gonna sway, okay, just like we do in table pose, head to tail. Okay, so you're really thinking of lengthening the whole spine, okay, gently contracting the back body. So the space between the vertebrae and the back is getting smaller. The space between the vertebrae and the front is getting wider, okay? And then we're gonna exhale and round. Take it in the other direction. So you're lifting the waist up to the sky, okay? Connecting with the block, keeping the tops of the arms plugged into the shoulder blades, even though there's a lot of movement there as well, as we really round deeply, tucking the chin into the chest. And then again, inhale and sway, lengthening. And then exhale and round. So continue to play through this a few times. You can change where your feet are if they need to be closer together or wider apart to accommodate what your spine is doing. That is fine, you know, so that's part of the exploration, exploring your unique proportions, okay? And, you know, the alignment is the alignment, but our misalignments as we walk through life can create situations where we have to adapt what is purely correct anatomical alignment to what we can do safely. So just continue to breathe, explore this movement of the spine in this relatively different approach. So just breathing, noticing. Okay, and then finally, we can bring this movement to stillness with a neutral spine, still hinging at the hips, folding forward, okay? And then release the hands from the block and go ahead and take the fingers down to the floor and allow the spine to round, okay? So it's not flaccid, flopping over. It's very active, okay? So we are connecting the tail to the head, okay? Just like Leanne showed us for those of you who were in the dance class the other day. I really liked her analogy as we do this spinal work, which is so important. You know, it was interesting to see that it's a basis for dance as well as yoga. The spine is just the center of everything. So letting the head hang, letting the arms dangle, breathing. And rounding over as deeply as you can. We're going to continue in this rounding, and we're going to create a ball, okay, with our whole body by folding into Malasana. So your feet can be as far apart as they need to be, okay, and then continue to hinge at the hips. You can begin to bend the knees a little bit so that you can really set your lower abdomen, maybe your upper abdomen as well, really setting that onto the thighs. Okay, so you're just hugging yourself in, allowing gravity, okay, and the weight of your body to create this hugging, because your arms are actually just still hanging down. And then very, very slowly continue to bend the knees, and you can wiggle a little bit in the hips, okay, so that you can very, very slowly sit as deeply as you can, keeping your heels on the floor, okay? So if you lift your heels, you lose a lot of the benefit of this pose. So I'd rather you keep your heels on the floor and not go down as far, okay? So then you would just play with where you are with it, playing with that deep, deep bend in the knee, that deep, deep folding over. And eventually you'll be able to come all the way down. So your buttocks is close to the floor, close to your heels, and you're continuing to round. You may be able to walk your arms forward in between your knees, okay? And then if you can bring the palms together in Anjali Mudra, and then you could just touch your index finger to the forehead. Okay, maybe. Okay, so that's the direction of the movement, the direction of the stretch, the deepening of the pose. Okay, breathing and noticing. And so it goes much deeper than this as far as the archetype of this movement. However, this is the extent that my body will go. Okay, the deepening of the pose would be hunching really, really over and getting so that you can take the arms behind you. And then finally, you'd be clasping your hands behind you. Okay. My body doesn't do that. It's beautiful to see, though, on those yoginis blessed with strength and flexibility. So breathing, noticing, go ahead and press the hips back up to the sky as you let the head hang. Fingertips touching down to the floor. And then go ahead and place your hands on your hips again. Engage your core and lengthen out to that neutral position. Okay, feeling the contrast between that deep, deep, deep rounding forward and the neutral spine. Press the elbows up to the sky to activate the back body and the shoulder blades. And then go ahead and come all the way up. Nice deep breath. All righty. So now let's move a little bit quicker. And so what we're going to do is we're going to play with a flow that's going to involve downward facing dog. We'll be rotating from that into an open angle stretch, and we'll be playing with some warrior two variations and things that we do from that basic position. So have your block at the center of the long edge of the mat, okay? But we're going to come around to the top of the mat. Now I have my block to the left of me, okay? So I'll be saying rotate around to the left. So check yourself and see how you are placed in your room. And if that block is to the right, that's fine too. Okay, you could move to the other end of your mat so that we're all languaging this the same way, since the language of it is so important when you're trying to follow along with that little picture on your device. So nice deep breath. So inhale, stretch up, lift, lengthen from the soles of the feet all the way to the tips of the fingers. Bring the hands down to the back of the head, the base of the skull. Press the elbows open. Lift up, reach back, backward bend. Inhale, come up, extend the arms overhead. Take the hands to hips, hinge forward. Folding all the way over, setting fingers in line with toes, and step back to dog pose. Nice deep breath, finding your downward facing dog, first one of the day, I would imagine. So setting everything, hands spreading, fingers apart, increasing the connection, the surface area of the palms. And then playing into the base of the hands, okay, and the connection with the wrist, and really lifting up out of that. So kind of plugging that into the shoulder blade so that the arms are really, really strong. The shoulder blades are active on the back body, and you're breathing, okay? You can do little micro movements of your hands, finding the best place so that you have both stability, okay, and comfort. Notice how you can open the pose even more in the back body. Breathing and noticing. So the hips are pressing up and the tailbone is tucking down. And the navel is drawing back towards spine. You're connecting from the pubic bone to the lower edge of the ribs. So everything is active, everything is engaged. And then think of flexing your feet more. And that will help you to get more length in the legs. It'll take the heel closer to the floor. So breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. So now we're going to shift weight onto the left foot to free the right foot up. Okay, and in fact, let's just go ahead and keeping the hips even, take the knee closer to the forehead, that right knee. So you're going to bend that right knee, take it closer to the forehead, doing this little rounding thing with the spine that we've just been playing with, right? And then we're going to press the chest forward so we're more arching the back, and then that'll create more space to step that right foot through, okay? So we're gonna step this right foot through, and we're gonna move through a lunge, but we're not gonna stay in the lunge. We're gonna transition, we're gonna point, keep the right foot pointing to the narrow edge of the mat, okay, but bring the torso around and then come up into warrior two. Okay, so finding all of the important alignment details of warrior two. So the foot, the right foot, the knee and the hip are in alignment. This left foot can be turned in some, okay, creating an internal rotation at the left hip joint. Pelvis is a perfect bowl, so really tuck here, okay? And then float the arms out like letter T. Breathe and turn your gaze to the right fingers. Breathe and notice. Now, with each inhalation, think of lifting up out of the feet, okay? And then with the exhalation, think of pressing down into the feet, tracking the feet together, and then notice if you can deepen the pose. Just breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and square the foot. Bring the hands to the hips. Take a nice deep breath. And then hinge at the hips and take the hands back to the block. Lengthening from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Set the left hand on the block, right hand to the hip. We're going to open from the waist, opening to the right. Take that arm up, really plug the top of the arm bone into the shoulder and breathe. Hand to the hip, and then take the hand down, right hand to the block, left hand to the hip. And then again, twisting at the waist. And take the arm up. And breathe. Hand to the hip, and then fold forward. Okay, so I can hear some voice. I'm not sure if it's coming from my answering machine, which would be unusual because it's usually turned off. So just everybody make sure that you're muted. Hands to the hips, come all the way up. Now go ahead and turn the left foot, left hip out. Okay, right can turn in a little bit, and then go ahead and find warrior two on the other side. Breathing and noticing. Breathe and notice. All right, from here, we're going to float this right arm up and over, taking the hands in line with the foot, and then transitioning that back leg around into a lunge position, okay? So here we are lunging on the other side, but we're going to just step back again to dog pose. Now, here we are in dog pose. We're going to take advantage of strengthening, okay? So you have two options. So one of them would be come down through the vinyasa, the Ashtanga style vinyasa, where you go to plank pose and then to cobra. Okay, I'll do that on the next transition if you want to see what it looks like, but I want to set everybody up for safety. So an alternative to that vinyasa would be this one that we do with the basic sun salutations that we've been working on, so that you set down your knees, you keep your elbows in, okay? So you're strengthening arms as you take the chest down, chin down, breathe. And then from here, you can slide your hips down, feet down, chest forward, elbows tucked in, into cobra pose. Okay, so breathe, notice, explore what is contracting. Okay, what is creating strength and stability here, and what is able to open in response to that. So breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and just press back to dog pose. Breathe. So now we're going to step the left foot through. In fact, shift the weight to the right foot, and then like we did on the other side, go ahead and bend that left knee and tuck the knee towards the forehead. So we're rounding, tucking, and then change the orientation of the spine. So instead of rounding, it's more arched. And then take that foot forward and then transition back to warrior two. So warrior two now leading with the left side. What we're going to do next is go into an extended side angle. So take the right hand to the hip, take the elbow to the thigh, okay, to the belly of that thigh muscle. And really, so that's a good place that you can create stability. Okay, so front foot in line with front knee, elbow on the thigh, back leg really strong, okay, really connecting from the hip to the heel. And then we want to take the heart forward. So instead of folding over towards that thigh, we're going to open out from the waist, okay, that's where it happens. And then just, I like to slide my fingers up to my armpit, and then from there, extend the arm up. Breathe and notice. Breathe, and as you breathe and you notice your alignment, setting yourself up for maximum stability, you can deepen into the pose, and you can turn your gaze up towards your hand and breathe. And then go ahead and take the hand to the hip, straighten the front leg, square the feet. Nice deep breath. So once again, hinging from the hips. Really engage, okay? So your feet are pressing down. At the same time, you're pressing up into the hip joints, lengthening. And then this time we're gonna, you can use the block if you need to, okay? And I'd like for you to widen your legs out a little bit and continue to hinge forward. Okay, so bending your knees if you need to so you can get your hands onto the ground. Okay, that one block is not going to really work for our purposes here. So bend your knees if you need to so you can get your hands down on the floor. And in fact, bring your hands all the way back in line with your feet. Okay, if you have to bend your knees, make sure that there's no pain in the knees and that the hips, the knees, and the feet are in alignment. And then work towards straightening your legs. Okay, that's where you would work with this pose. Okay, if your legs are straight and you feel strong, then the next place to go is to press into your hands and then think of lengthening your spine from the hips to the head, trying to find that neutral position, really engaging abdominal muscles and breathing. Breathing and noticing. And then release that. Step your feet a little bit closer together because remember we really widened our stance. But now we're going to be shifting to more weight bearing as we set our hands on our hips and lift up, lift our heavy torsos up into alignment. Nice deep breath. Turn the right foot out. Left foot is turned in a little bit. And then find warrior on the other side. Virabhadrasana 2. Take the arms out like letter T. And then go ahead and bring the elbow to the thigh, palm facing up. Okay, right elbow, right thigh, right palm facing up. Left hand to the hip, and taking that elbow back behind you so that you begin to open the heart towards the center, okay? Instead of folding over that thigh, it's opening out in the same direction as the pelvis. And then slide the hand up to the armpit, and then open out like letter T and breathe. Deepening the pose. Setting the knee so that it's directly over the ankle. If the ankle of the knee is obtuse, that's much safer. You don't want it to be acute. You don't want that knee to go farther forward than the ankle. That creates a lot of challenge for the knee. So breathe and notice, and then bring the hand to the hip, and then transition around again to a lunge. Take the right foot back. Nice deep breath, finding dog pose. So now you have a choice. You can repeat the 8-pointed pose, knees, chest, and chin. You can do Chaturanga Dandasana. If you don't know Chaturanga Dandasana, you could watch me do it. I'm not great at this pose. It's very hard for me. I can only do a few a day, okay? So form is everything. So setting the hands and the shoulders in alignment. Okay, arms are very, very strong. Core is engaged. Very, very strong. And then we're going to lower the hips to plank. So in plank pose, you don't want the hips to be sagging, but you also don't want them to be lifted up like dog pose. Okay, so again, connecting pubic bone to front ribs. Okay, so now what I want to do is place my body down in one piece. Okay, so stopping when I'm just hovering above the floor. And then I can lower it all the way down. Okay, so from here I could do cobra, or I could come up into upward facing dog, which I really like. So I'm pressing my toes down. Okay, really strong in the tops of my feet. My elbows are pressing up, my shoulders are engaged and active. Okay, and then engaging everything. I'm going to push with my arms and float my legs up off the floor and upward facing dog. And then wherever you are, go ahead and curl the toes under, moving to downward facing dog. And breathe. All right, so let's go ahead and go forward with the right foot. Grab a block, okay? So you're gonna grab a block, because from here, what we're gonna do, place the block towards that front foot, straighten the front leg, okay? And then we're gonna open out to triangle pose. So breathe and notice. If you don't have your block handy, just go ahead and find triangle pose without it, but good form. Breathe, and then hand to the hip. Go ahead and come all the way up, square that foot. Arms out like letter T, engage your core, fold forward. Okay, once again, hands down in front of you. And then this time we're going to hinge forward at the hips, taking it as deeply as we can with a neutral spine. And that's all, okay? And then go ahead and arms out, come all the way up. Grab your block if you want it for triangle on the other side. So turn that left foot out. Stretch the arms out like letter T. Reach, 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 reach to triangle pose. So setting your hands down on your leg, the left hand connecting with your leg, the block or the floor. But remember that you want to keep your lines as lines and not as squigglies. Okay, so the lines of the legs, okay, there's a triangle there, right? And then the lines of the arms, so hopefully the arms are out like letter T. I can't tell, I'll know when I look at the video. Breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. All right, and then because of the flow that we're doing, we're going to transition back down into a lunge to downward facing dog. And then go ahead and do a vinyasa. So either of the two that we've played with today. And then when you're ready, come back to dog pose. Breathe and notice. And so there's just going to be one more, okay? One more round. And we'll see what it's going to look like. So take the left foot forward, hinge back around to warrior two. You know, I like going from there to warrior two just because it's easy, relatively, compared to other things that we could do there. And now we're just gonna float it out. So turn the left arm up, right hand down to the thigh. Inhale, really lift, lengthen, and open stretch. So the right hand is reaching down the right thigh. Left arm is towards the ear, and we're reaching that hand, the left hand, the top hand, towards the back leg, and then back to center. Okay, so let's do a few repetitions there. So inhale, opening the left side body, and then back to center. And then one more time, inhale, and then exhale. Square the foot, and then let's just bring the hands to the hips, and let's inhale, stretch the arms up over the head, and then exhale, lower to the heart. Inhale up, exhale, lower, hands to the heart. One more time, inhale up, exhale, hands lower to the heart, and then take the hands to the hips, find warrior two on the other side, and then we can just float it out. Right hand up, left hand to the thigh as you inhale, really nice stretch in the right side body, and then back to center. So inhale, I like to look up towards my arm as I'm taking the arm overhead and back, and then I like to look back to center as I bring the arms parallel. And then one more time, inhale, and exhale. Alrighty, so now pivoting around one more time to this lunge. Okay, and then back to dog. But this time we're going to walk our feet up to the center of the mat, and then walk our hands back to meet our feet. Hands on your hips, lift out and come all the way up. One more time, arms overhead, hold on to the left wrist with the right hand, open stretch. Back to center, palms forward, hold on to the right wrist with the left hand, open stretch. And then back to center, hands to the heart. So, all right, so let's go ahead and move down onto our hands and knees, and have room to stretch your legs behind you. Okay, so we're gonna do gate pose. So it just feels like a nice thing to do in regard to this flow that we're playing with. So into table pose, shift the weight to the left knee, extend that right leg behind you, plug the top of the leg bone into the hip socket, and then set the foot down so the big toe is tapping. So actually tap the big toe repetitively. Okay, just tapping, tapping, tapping. So lifting that leg just slightly, tapping with the toe, and then we're going to tap it all the way out to the side. And then when the foot is in alignment with the knee, okay, in the same line, go ahead and press yourself up so that you're standing on the knee. The back, if the back toe is curled under, it gives you a little better base of support. So this foot is turned forward. Okay, so the foot is as if it's in mountain pose. If you need to go to the side of the foot, that's fine. But at any rate, pressing down, connecting. Let's take that left arm up. We're going to lift it up and over, and we're going to side stretch to the right and breathe. So breathe and notice. And then go ahead and come back to center. Hinge, taking the hands down, and then tap that foot back around, and then set the knees in line with each other. Extend that left leg. So extend the left leg. Leg is parallel to the floor to begin so that you can really think of connecting top of the leg bone into the hip socket. And then just tapping the toe around, straight out, open hip, and then set the foot down when it's in alignment with the knee. And then you have to consciously connect the top of the right leg into the hip so that it's a perpendicular line, okay, so that you have good alignment there. And then go ahead and come all the way up, playing with this foot, okay, so that you're stable. It's fine if you have to go on the side of the foot, but the foot is flexed and it is active. So left hand down, float the right arm up, open stretch to the left. Okay, breathing and noticing. So breathing and noticing, trying to keep the heart open, facing towards the center. Okay, so you're not gravitating towards a twisted spine. Okay, the spine is in alignment. Breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. And then go ahead and come back. Hinge at the hips. Take the hands down and then tap that foot back around. Knee to the forehead and down. Okay, so now let's sit back onto our heels. So just play with that. If it doesn't work for you, you don't have to stay in it long. There's plenty of other positions to be in. Let's stay here for a moment. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale, stretch arms up over the head. Hold on to the left wrist with the right hand. Lift up and over, side stretching. We're going to have the longest side bodies in town after this class. And then back to center. Hold on to the right wrist with the left hand. Open stretch to the side. And breathe. And then go ahead and come back to center. Hands to the heart. So let's go ahead and move down onto our backs. Grab your block. And let's grab our strap as well. So coming down into a position for bridge so that the knees are bent and the feet are close to the buttocks. But not so close that you have to strain or force them into position, okay? And then go ahead and grab your strap. So we're gonna check in with our alignment. Okay, so first of all, look and make sure that you are placed symmetrically on your mat. So you're not, you don't begin cattywampus, because we're gonna take another check in when we're done and see what happened as we go through this next set. So take the strap and put it around the ball of your right foot and then extend the leg. Okay, so this is what you want. You want the leg to be perpendicular to the floor. If it's not there yet, okay, so for example, with the legs straight, if you can only lift it a little ways up off the floor, that's fine. You work there. You continue to really plug the top of the leg bone into the hip socket as you flex the foot and lengthen the muscles in the legs. Okay, so you want the leg to be straight. You don't want the knee to be bent. It can be lowered close to the floor, as close as it needs to be so you can get the leg straight, okay? When the leg is straight, it requires that the muscles are balanced for strength and flexibility, okay? So as we begin to take the leg higher, then the leg will want to bend if we don't have a good balance of strength and flexibility. So work where you need to be for the sake of your alignment. So notice the sacral bone. Okay, so the sacral bone is pressing down, the whole of it, the whole heart-shaped bone. The lumbar spine is lifted up a little bit. That's normal, okay? The shoulders, the scapula are pressing down. That's your thoracic curve. The back of your head is pressing down, Okay, and then the neck curve lifts up a little bit. So the neck curve and the low back curve mirror each other. They're both lifted up away from the floor a bit. So continue to flex the right foot, press with the heel, plug the top of the leg bone into the hip socket. And then, okay, if your leg is perpendicular, then you may begin to straighten the left leg. But if your leg is not yet perpendicular, keep working on that part, okay? Breathe and notice. And so the left foot is flexed. If you've straightened it, the left foot is flexed, you're really pressing into the back of the thigh and you're breathing. And then hold on to both ends of the strap with your right hand. Take the left arm out like letter T, and then we're going to slowly begin to open that leg out. So even if your knee is bent and the leg is not quite perpendicular to the floor yet, you may still go ahead and open that leg out from the hip joint. Okay, it should be okay. If it hurts, don't do it. But keeping the sacrum down, keeping the shoulder blades down, keeping that left arm down, will counterbalance taking that leg out to the side as far as it wants to go in control, not compromising the rest of the pose. Breathe. And then go ahead and bring the leg back to center. Hold on to the strap with the left hand, take the right arm out, and then go ahead, keeping the sacrum down, take the right leg across the midline. It doesn't have to go very far, at least in my situation, where I can really feel a really intense stretch along the IT band, okay, this fascia that lives in the right side of the body from the hip down to about the knee. Breathe and notice. And then back to center, hold on to the straps with both hands. Now, if you want to, keeping everything else stable, so not compromising anything else that's happening in this pose, you can begin to try to bring that leg closer for a little bit more intensity in the stretch. Just breathe and notice. And then go ahead and release. Bend the knee and set the foot down, and then bend the other knee. Okay, so here we are back at the beginning. So take a little check and see where you are on your mat. So I gravitated so that my feet are towards the left side of the mat, my shoulders are towards the right. Okay, it's just a point of awareness that happens because of imbalances of strength and flexibility. So I'm just going to set myself back on the mat at the center of my mat. And then I'm going to take the strap and put it around the left foot. So foot is flexed, holding on to the strap with both hands. And I like tucking my elbows into my waist in this position. It helps me to have more stability, okay, with the upper body participating fully. So foot is flexed, sacrum is on the floor, shoulder blades are on the floor, back of the head is on the floor, lumbar and cervical curves are lifted up, okay, so neutral spinal curves. And so take the leg as high as it will go with the leg straight, plug the top of the leg bone into the hip socket, and then finally, once your leg is perpendicular, you can begin to straighten the right leg. So straightening that right leg down, flexing the foot, pressing down with that right thigh, right calf, foot is flexed. Breathe and notice. So really plug the top of the left leg into the hip socket and breathe and really allow those muscles to feel safe, secure, supported with the strap. in your hand, and then hold on to both ends of the strap with your left hand. Take the right arm out to the side. And then as you are ready, slowly begin to open out at the hip, taking that leg as far open as it wants to go today. Keep really pressing into that left, rather the right thigh, right leg, right shoulder, counterbalancing what the left leg is doing. Breathe and notice. Breathe and notice. And then go ahead and bring the leg back to center, and then hold on with the right hand, taking the leg just a little ways across midline, keeping it flexed, keeping it in alignment. Breathe and notice. And then go ahead and release that, bring it back to center, and bend the right knee, press the right foot down, and then release the strap, and bend the knee. So both feet are down. Take another look. And so on this side, I stay in the center of my mat. So I can reflect on that later about what it might mean. I've been told that the right side of my body is weak. The left side of my body is tight for compensating for what weaknesses I have on the right side. So anyway, it's interesting to me, and that's about it. So nice deep breath. Here we are in bridge pose. Let's go ahead and grab our blocks. Hopefully you still have a block handy. So grab your block, and I'm going to invite you to go ahead and set the block underneath your sacrum in whatever orientation you want it to be. Okay, so the lowest orientation or the middle orientation. Okay. If you are like really bendy in the back, you're nice and warmed up now. So if you wanted to take the block to the highest orientation, if that works for you and you can still keep both of your feet flat on the floor, then that's marvelous. Okay. But approach with caution. Okay. So the block is a prop. And so what it allows us to do is to move into this inversion. Okay, this is an inversion. The hips are higher than the heart. The pelvis is higher than the heart. And it's really good to do inversions every day in some way, shape, or form. And so this is a nice, gentle one to do at the end of an active practice. Just breathing, allowing the shoulders to rest down onto the floor. Allow the palms to open to the ceiling. And then the legs are fairly active because you're pressing into your feet, keeping the feet, knees, and hip bones in good alignment. You can still engage as if you're going to lift, but don't lift. Just allow it to be supported. You've worked plenty hard today. And so just take this few minutes to breathe and relax. And then what I'll have you do now is go ahead and lower the block so that it's in the lowest orientation. No matter where you were before, just go ahead and put the widest part of the block underneath your sacrum, because what we're going to do now is draw the thighs to the chest and extend the legs overhead. And so that just increases the inversion, obviously. There's more blood, okay, the blood from the lower legs, the feet and the legs, is now reversing, okay, in a sense that muscles, the fluid in your lymph system, blood that is stagnant in veins, okay, at this point can use the force of gravity to allow them to return to the central circulation, okay? So breathe and notice. And then go ahead and bend the knees, set the feet down, remove the block, set the hips back down, and then just go ahead and extend the legs out onto the floor, wide enough apart so that the lower back can feel released and relaxed. Palms open to the ceiling. Okay, arms out from the side just a little bit. Not like letter T, but somewhere halfway between letter T and down at your sides. And close your eyes. And thank yourself for your dedication to your practice. I thank you for being here this morning. And so enjoy your Savasana. I invite you to rest here for as long as you are able. Focusing on the breath and focusing on the sensation of deep release in your body. And take just as much time as you need. And I hope that you all enjoy your day. Middle of the week. Thank you all for being here today. Namaste.